Welcome back to the WVU Online Percussion Academy. This is, again, we're looking at technique on world percussion instruments. Next up on our roster is bongos. Typically, we don't see as many, we see bongos everywhere. We find them in concert halls, we find them in band rooms, but generally we see more and more people play them with sticks than with hands. So what we'll talk about just a little bit of is a traditional approach to this instrument and the sound production in relationship to what we've already learned. Now, typically when we're playing the bongos with hands, we're going to have a very high and a very low sound on the drum. Notice this drum is very small. So we talked about before with our bass, our open tone, and our slap, we're going to have a little bit different because obviously we're not really getting much of a bass on this sound. To begin, I want to have this, if I'm going to have this drum on an angle or on a stand, I'm going to have it angled away from me. Again, I'm keeping the same nice, loose, straight arm motion. I still have the same stroke that I had before when I was sitting down, but now it's in front of me, so I want to keep these drums angled away. That way all this still stays in place. What we really want to do is focus on the idea that all these skills transfer from one instrument to another. So whether it's a pan logo or a conga or these bongo drums or a snare drum or anything at all, we have that same motion and that same concept of how we're getting the sound. So with these drums, we're really going to look at just a couple of sounds. We're really having our open sound, and now instead of we're not really using a bass any longer, so we're really, instead of for our open sound, we're really going to focus on 3 fingers here. Some players may only have just use 1 finger. If you really want a bigger sound, I recommend either 2 or as many as 3 fingers. Now, I'm going to keep, instead of striking from here on up like what I had from before for my hand drums, I'm going to focus these 3 fingers really striking from the middle on up. I can get an open sound on the high drum. And again, I'm right near the edge of the drum. To get a nice big open sound. For our slap, generally here, if we're going to use our slap, we're using muted slap. And here we could do that by muting it with the other hand. So I'm going to play the same way I had before with my open hand, or my open tone, but now I'm just going to let it come in contact with the fingertips. And I'm going to let my thumb do the muting. A very typical pattern that we would hear on here is called martillo. Martillo means the hammer. So whenever we have this pattern, it's really sort of driving the pulse home. And this will use a special technique for bongos, very similar to the heel toe that we had on the congas. Here I'm going to be using my thumb and my fingertips. So if I really think about it, instead of a heel toe, we're really using thumb, finger, thumb, finger. And what we're going to do is keep time using our thumb and our finger. So thumb, finger, thumb. So my thumb is coming flat on the drum here. My fingers, I'm using these 3 fingers again, just like I had for my open tone. But now they're coming here with another dry sound. So if I want... This is really sort of marking that time. It's very similar to that heel toe that we had on the congas, but it's much smaller since I'm using the higher drum. So for our martillo pattern, we're going to start with a close slap, followed by the fingertips. Open, thumb, slap, fingers, open. So my hand, if I'm thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm going to play 1. So my left hand, using this heel and finger, is really just keeping time in between. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, we want to keep this nice and loose, nice and relaxed, and not worry about how hard we're hitting it. Again, if I've said this in the other videos, I'll say it in here too. The slap is a sound, it's not a volume. So that's the bongos. Next up, we're going to look at a little bit different drum from Brazil. And talk about a combination of using hand techniques and stick techniques as well. So hope you're enjoying it. Hope you're having a great week at the camp, and we'll see you soon.